Hi, this is Summer with Summer's Tips and Stitches, and this is a video all about the Ross hat. So as some of you know, I'm kind of new to knitting. I've been doing the basic, simple things for a couple years now. A couple scarves where it's just back and forth. I did a shawl, which had an increase and a decrease, triangular. I did make my first hat. However, I'm trying to see if I have one laying around here. The hat was one of those that you knitted flat. Then when you got to the top, you cinched it. And then I'm trying to find the seam. And then you sew the two pieces together for a seam. The pattern that I initially had was a baby hat. So then when I went to make this, I just made the numbers bigger to make an adult hat, which I think that probably could fit a woman with a full hairdo or a man. It's not tight to the head whatsoever. So a lot of you were like, try the Ross hat, try the Ross hat. And to be honest, the thing that kind of scared me about hat were DPNs, double pointed needles. I don't have any, believe it or not. And I didn't know if I wanted to try them or go about that. So then other folks had mentioned that I could use 2 sets of knitting needles. I used a 16-inch knitting needle with size 8, and then I could get these little ones. And let me tell you what, these are something else rather than using the DPNs. So that is what I Here is my finished Ross hat. Now, the first thing I would say is it is crazy to me how different yarn works up in knit versus crochet. In crochet, this would look very variegated. You know, you would barely see any pattern. Whereas in the knit world, you have like this like camouflage look with this yarn. Then when you get to the top, where I actually did make a mistake, you have this striped look because obviously the around is smaller, so you start to see like striping, whereas down here it's all like big blocky colors. This is Red Heart Wildflower. Yes, I occasionally hoard this up when I'm at Joann's and they have Red Heart on sale. I really like this color. I'm going to be honest, I like it better knitted than crochet. The mistake I made is there is a part in the pattern where Ross tells you to switch to your DPNs. And at that point, you do not anymore do a round of knit. So you do a round of decrease and a round of knit for a little while. And then the next round, when you, as you come to, it just says here, knit all stitches. Repeat 1 and 2 until you have 8 between the stitch markers. And then it says repeat row 1. Well, at that point, I did not. I did a couple rows where I repeated, which it gave it this cone head kind of look. If I were to do this again for me and my head, because Ross clearly says in this pattern that this is for like a man's medium, I think rather than having 6 inches from brim to where you start decrease, I probably would do 5 for me and then start my decrease. This is what it like looks like at the top. You have these like lines where you do your decrease, and thankfully mine are pretty straight, so I was pretty happy with that. I was able to keep my stitch count, I'm trying to hold that for you so you can see, pretty even. This is what it looks like on. I mean, it's nice. The size around here is nice, but I just need it a little shorter here, like that. So I started another one. You guys, I'm making this video right before school, so I really can't mess up my hair with hats. This, I'm using Lion brand cotton. I don't necessarily remember the name. They have a couple cottons that are very similar. I believe I made baby stuff with this before. And so I'm starting another one, and I view them on this 16-inch. And then, like I said, when it goes to the DPN, that's when I put in that little one. But I'm going to tell you what, you guys, for as little as this looks, it was still super hard to knit. I almost think, as I was seeing where the stitch markers went and where I would have put the double pointed needles, I do think it probably would have been easier to continue in the round with the double pointed needles than using this little thing, because it just got so tiny and there were so many few stitches and I was stretching it out. And for a first time though, first knitting in the round, the things that I'm really happy about is that, one, you don't see any laddering or separation from where I joined in the round. Then also, I had no mistakes. I had nowhere. See, with crocheting, I know how to fix a mistake. You just, you know, frog it, comes out. With knitting, when you realize you have an X, and you don't even see it until you get to the next round. You then see that you accidentally knitted a purl or purled a knit, or you see that you've got like an extra flip around the yarn, and you see it. And when I get to that point, I don't know what to do. And I end up having like this little mess. Now, experienced knitters, and I know there's videos because I've said this before and people have given me all the links. At this point, I can't wrap my brain around slipping off a stitch and pulling it out and weaving it up and down. I've seen people do it in real life from my knitting buddies group. I have seen the videos, and to me, it just looks like a gobbly mess of string. So I'm not there yet, but when I did notice that I made a mistake in this, but luckily I had just only done the brim. I just frogged the whole thing out and started over again. To me, I like to have things look perfect. And I really struggle once I start having a mistake, because I feel like then for the rest of the thing, I'm going to make mistakes. It takes a lot for me to overcome a mistake in a pattern. Like that, there's a shawl I made a while ago, and it has this like up and down look. And eventually I just had to say, let go. And I just threw the pattern aside and I followed the up and down. And it takes a lot for me to get there because I just want to do it right. And I figured, if I'm not making this hat for a deadline, why can't I pull it out and start it over? So that's what I did. A couple more inches before I'll move into the decrease. I'm going to try one more decrease with these little tiny needles, and then I'll just go to Hobby Lobby and see if they have some DPNs. But that is my story on the Ross hat. I will put a link in the description to his pattern off of Ravelry. Now, the super amazing thing about Ross is that he has written this pattern out for all size of hats. This is what it looks like. I print mine in black and white. I don't do color. They have the super fine. He's got super fine, light or DK, a medium worsted, and then bulky. So he's got it written out for you in all ways. Now, it doesn't say in these patterns to use these little tiny knitting needles. It's just somebody told me that in a description, in one of the comments, and then I used that. Also, guys, oh, and then I'll put a link in the description to, I think he has a couple of videos that are like tutorials and where he talks and knits this hat for you and walks you through it. So I will put a link in the description to that. For me, my end game is making socks, as many of you know. And now that I'm knitting in the round, I think I'll be able to figure that out, except for the heel. That to me seems a little bit out there. But one step at a time. I'm going to master this hat before I move on. Now, my sister, if you guys saw from the last bead talk, she has given us a coupon code if you would like to purchase any of her necklaces from her Etsy shop, Beads of Hope by Bree. A coupon code. I want to say it's like Summer's Tips 20. I did not look it up and write it down ahead of time, and I don't know how to pull it up on the phone with showing it to you. I will fiddle around today figuring out how to edit that somewhere in this chat part. And it works through February. I was going to wear one of those necklaces, but I forgot. You guys, I love them. She made me two, and I typically wear them to work. And because I'm a large, busty gal, a lot of times necklaces don't fall right on me and they look weird. But these look amazing, and I love having them when I wear like a plain colored shirt, a cardigan, and then one of those fancy beaded necklaces. In fact, I do believe I've worn them in videos before because she gave them to me when she came up at Christmas. So I will put a link that works, because for a while her Beads of Hope link was not working. I'll put a link in the description and the coupon code right next to it. So go to the description box. There'll be a link to Bree's shop, and then the coupon code will be right by it. And I believe that's for 20% off of her fancy necklaces. And there's some that only say one left. And then other people had asked, what is her rosary ministry? And I don't want to be misquoted. I do know that when I went there yesterday, it said for every rosary made, one will be donated to nursing homes. But I do think there's more to it. But I know that on Etsy, somewhere you're able to find their bio on their page, because she had me read it a few times. So somewhere on there, when you go to learn about Bree's shop and how she makes her items, it does talk about the ministry she's attached to her rosaries. The necklaces and bracelets and stuff, that's just stuff she's making to, like, you know, make her, I guess, add to it or have a little fun, learn some more techniques, make more products. I don't know. There it is. So check out Beads of Hope by Beads of Hope by Bree for 20% off. There'll be a code. Link in the description also for this pattern off of Ravelry and Ross's tutorial. And knitting is funner. I will say I'm getting better at this part of it. It's not as stressful, but I'm still holding my arms right here. And then my kids would talk to me and I'm like, what? I'm knitting here. All right, you guys, I got to finish getting ready for school. Thanks for watching and subscribing. Thanks for liking and sharing my videos. And until the next video, happy crafting. Bye.